Cool. Hello and welcome everyone. Very warm good evening to all of you whosoever have started joining in. I hope you guys are doing well. So, as per our discussion, we're gonna talk about the most commonly asked questions today. Okay. Strangely, this session has not been renamed, and I need to check why. This was supposed to be renamed to Python interview questions, and that's bad. Okay, anyway, so yeah, so in today's lecture, we're gonna talk about our most frequently asked questions in Python. Okay, so most frequently asked question in terms of what has been the top questions, right? And these are basically the ones when you go for a technical round, right? Technical round questions. So you are asked to write some of the questions in not 5 minutes or say 10 minutes of time, right? So these are those type of questions. These are not specifically a coding round questions. Okay, so we're going to talk about that later in our course. But yes, so since to have a fair understanding of our population, whomsoever we have connected with. So yeah, so just to keep an interest as well. So we're going to talk about those questions which are most frequently asked in your interviews when you go for technical rounds, right? So we're going to talk about those. So we discussed about few questions yesterday, and then also today we're going to talk about some more. Okay, so we're going to wait for a couple of more minutes to let people join in. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, do feel free to drop in your text, right? So we can always talk. Brijesh, very good evening. I hope you are doing well. Right. So again, just to repeat again, so guys. So today, I think somehow this stream has not been renamed. We're gonna talk about the common interview questions which we left yesterday to some part. So we're gonna continue with that. So we're gonna talk about some of the other questions. I mean, few of them we discussed yesterday. So we're gonna talk. I mean, a bit more today, at least for 5-6 questions. Right, so as always, we are waiting for a couple of more minutes to let people join in. Right, so meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, anything, any topic which you want to discuss, I'm all ears. You can always drop in your text. I'm monitoring the chat the best I can. Right, so and then as always, there is a lag of 15-20 seconds for sure. Right, so if you see me mute for some time, do not get confused. I'm still here. We're gonna wait for I think 1 more minute to let people join in. So it's a Friday evening, guys. Whosoever are working, so they know the importance of this. So it's like a fun day for us. So like, and then this one of the weekends, right? So it's basically off. So the Friday evenings are always crazy. Yeah, but I guess people who are working and who are studying, so right, so it doesn't make a difference anyway because everybody are doing everything from home. Right, so we're gonna wait for max 1 more minute to let people join in so that we can quick start. Meanwhile, guys, if you have any friends who are supposed to join, please just text them or call them so that we can start. So today, as discussed, we're gonna talk about the most frequently asked Python questions, right, in the interview. So we discussed few questions yesterday, so and then we're gonna cover a bit more today. And as always, I'll be all ears to your questions. Right, so in that case, let's start, guys. As you know, my name is Arpit Jain. I'm a senior data scientist myself, I have 8+ years of industry experience, and then I'm a motivational speaker myself. I've seen industry, so I'm in a telecommunication domain right now, and before this, I was into different domains: a bank, manufacturing sector, automobile, cloud. I've seen the industries, and yes, in the past few years, the technology has evolved tremendously, and people have actually moved their base from other coding languages to profoundly to Python. And Python in data science world is a most prominently used language. The reason is, like, Python is first of all user friendly. It is open source, a lot of support available on the libraries, right, and a good forums for Python related discussions. And then on top of that, Python provides such a good flexibility when it is up to the deployments, right? So there are multiple architectures which are generally used in your business deployments, like databases, your APIs, Dockers, RPC calls, UIs, I mean, and then your JSON dumping of the files. So lot of things, The plugins, all of those details are actually very much readily available in Python. So it becomes very handy to use in the deployment architecture. So Python is one of the key languages in data science, right? And then they can definitely PySpark. So PySpark is nothing but a flavor of Python on Spark. And Spark, as if you're aware of, it's more of a big data computation platform where we do a distributed computation based on the servers in the master and the worker nodes, right? And then in the course, we're going to talk about both these things, so Python and PySpark. So Python, we're going to cover, we have already started with Python. We have covered functions, we have covered Lambda functions, and we talked about pandas. And then we're going to talk about Spark, so PySpark during the course of our discussion. We're going to do that eventually. And then you have a code right in front of your screen, Python 10. So with this, you can get a 10% off on your Unacademy Pro subscription. And the exact reason is like, why do you need this Pro subscription, which is nothing but as a developer subscription, guys. Okay, so time for a quick promotion. Right, so why do you need this developer subscription, guys? So it's basically for the people who wants to become a software developer and who have just become a software developer. Right, so Unacademy as a platform has brought you a lot of shows which you can watch live. Okay, and these shows are actually some of the other ways gonna help you in your jobs, in your placements. Okay, so some of the good shows which are going live on the Unacademy platforms are like the hiring updates from the tech companies or even the startups, and then you get to know about their LGBT criterias, like how they expect people to be and what kind of things they are looking for from a potential recruitee, and then a lot of other things, right? So they can talk about their LGBT criteria. You can get to know whether you are actually fitting to that organization or not. So that's something which is again good to know beforehand to get a shocker at the end, right? It's always better to know things beforehand. And then you have something called as how to approach Code Chef. So Code Chefs, and the do's and the don'ts. If you know about the Code Chef, there are a lot of things which you should be aware of, right? So, and then the standards of the codes and what kind of questions you can expect, right? So yes, all the respective questionnaires related to Code Chef you can expect to be answered in this particular show. And then you have something called as a pre-placement talks, where the HRs from the companies, they come themselves and they talk about their respective organizations, right? So what they do is they talk about the company's vision, they talk about their company's culture, and then they talk about their hiring processes, right? So it's not about the company hiring you, it's also you gonna inquire the company whether you will fit into that company's culture as well or not, right? Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of your career, that might not be a big of a question, but at some point of time it does make a difference, right? So I mean, you might not really want to end up in a company where the environment is not that great, right? So it all depends on what kind of inquiry you have done, what kind of questions you have, and what kind of answers you got for those questions, right? So you can actually get those queries responded by the respective HRs from these companies. You can get to know about the company's vision, and does it really are these visions aligned with your point of interest and all, right? So I mean, you can talk to these HRs and get to know the right processes. And then you have something called as top 20 questions, like the most frequently asked questions in the interview. So again, for most of the times we have observed that there are certain set of questions which are most frequently asked, right? I mean, some are the technical questions which are most frequently asked, some are the behavioral questions which are most frequently asked, right? So technical questions, again, there are a number of ways of solving any technical question. Like for example, if you want to reach Delhi, you can go via Vijayawada, you can go to Kolkata and then come to Delhi, and then if you can, if you want, you can go to Nagpur and then go to Delhi. The ways could be different, right? To reach a particular point of solution, the ways could be different. But in technical ways, we talk about optimization of that codes, right? So for example, my approach is 1, somebody else's approach is 2, and then somebody else's approach is 3, right? So then we talk about whose code is more optimized. Optimized means which code is taking lesser time. So that is actually the better code. That's how we judge it, right? Eventually, see, definitely I'm expecting all of these 3 codes giving you the right answers. Basically the solving the job, right? Yeah, when these all 3 codes are solving the job, I mean, there is a better way of doing it, right? So like the code standards we talk about. So that coding standards comes a little bit at this later stage of your life. But again, right now to start with, you can focus about solving the problem, right? Once you know how to solve the problem, then you can, fine tune your solutions. That comes in the second stage. So not get into that right now. And then we have anyway started talking about that. So we started talking about the Lambda functions, right? So that's one of the very good keys to optimize your codes. Right, so as I'm talking about the top 20 questions, so in the technical parts, that's fine. The behavioral questions, it depends on your profile actually, guys, right? So if I mean, you can get your tailor-made responses according to your profile, so that's what gonna help you. I mean, to have those bullet pointers ready when you go for the interview, when you're talking, always helps. And then you have something called as a live problem solving. So you have a support from the mentor who gonna help you a lot during your live project, right? So you're gonna be doing a real life project, and then basically live problem solving, and if you're getting stuck, you can get a support straight away. And then you have the live support, I mean the live journey from the fellow coders from the big companies like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. You can talk to these people, and then you can understand what things they have changed in their own life standard, and I mean in their own life, and what changes you have to bring in your overall candidature, so that you can expect to be going into those big organizations, right? So you can directly talk to these people, always helps. Right, and then again on top of all this, you'll also have a support of online mentors from who are the industry experts, right? So you can get a support on the online mock interviews, and you know the importance of mock interviews anyway. So it's like your pre-interviews before your placement, so you can understand what kind of things you can expect from the real interview. Sometimes you expect that you know everything, I mean, but again it goes in vain when you actually appear for the interviews, right? So there's a place to get a real feedback and understand where do you stand and what to improve on. So I mean, it's always good to know your improvement areas, right? Great. And then you have the college projects. So one of the very good shows which is going live every Friday night at 10 p.m. taken by Mr. Raj Vikramaditya. He's taking care of the college projects reviews, right? Again, the college projects reviews are nothing but if you want your college projects to tick all the right boxes, right? And you want yourself to land into a real good internship or maybe a good job post that, right? So this is the place for you guys, right? So you can actually get your college projects reviewed. If you have any questions, if you're getting stuck, if you want some suggestions, any alteration you want to do in your college project, so this is the place for you guys. You can come up and talk to Mr. Raj Vikramaditya every Friday night at 10 p.m. and you can talk about your college projects and get it corrected, get it reviewed howsoever way you want to, right? And again, this is part of your developer subscription, guys, for mere $9.99 per year. But again, if you use the code right in front of your screen, which is Python 10, you can get it for 10% off, which is $8.99. Cool. Okay, another good show which is going live is Code Chef, which is going live at every Saturday afternoon 2 p.m. and taken care by Mr. Sai Avinash. He's SDE Google and is a 7-star Code Chef. So I mean, he would be the right person to tell you the do's and the don'ts from Code Chef arena. So he also will be doing some live problem solving, and also would be taking care taking your questions regarding Code Chef, the do's and the don'ts, right? So this is a place for you guys, and you can definitely talk to Mr. Sai. Saturday afternoon 2 p.m. part of your developer subscription. You know this, so we have a Telegram official channel, link is there in the YouTube description, video description. You can join this Telegram group to get the live updates regarding the upcoming shows and all the lectures, right? So it's a one place stop for everything, right? So please do like, share, subscribe the channel, and do press the bell icon as well. Cool. Okay, if you guys remember, so we talked about the important set of questions yesterday, right? So most frequently asked questions. So we talked about a few of them yesterday, and then today we're gonna cover the other few set questions. And then I believe yesterday we were interacting much about those questions, right? So I'm gonna wait for 30 seconds or a minute and want to understand from you guys if you have any questions, because whatever we're gonna do from today, it's more towards the build up on top of what we discussed yesterday, right? So I don't want any issues or any leftover things which you feel that might be answered before we start, right? So we are still in the set one. We have the top coding Python questions which are most frequently asked in the technical rounds. Okay, so we discussed about a few things yesterday, like the prime numbers, the factorials, the other things, right? So we talked about them yesterday, and then we're gonna do a couple of more today, and then we will see how it's from there. But again, guys, if you have any questions, anything which you feel which should be answered before we jump into our exercises, please feel free to drop in your questions. Okay, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. If you have something, do feel free to give your questions, or we will jump to the questions directly. Cool. So if you don't have any other questions, so we're gonna jump towards our question sets today. Okay. So again, we're gonna build up the session. So we're gonna take at least 2-3 easy questions earlier, and then we jump towards some of the little tricky ones. Okay. So today we're gonna start with the very basic one. So we have something called as you must be frequently asked this question. So you have two variables, suppose A and B, and you have given a values to them, right? And now you want to swap these two variables with using the third variable. Okay, so here you have a freedom to use the third variable. Okay, you can introduce any variable you want. Now the question is, you have to swap the two variables as an input. So basically, if my variable A is value 5 and the variable B is say 10, then in that case I want to change the values from A should be 10 now and B should be 5. Clear? I think nothing fancy here, guys, nothing fancy. If you guys want to really try this, please go ahead and yeah, so do let me know your response, like what exactly you feel should be. I'm still monitoring the chat, right? So if you have any suggestions, anything which you feel should be the one in the code. It's pretty easy one, guys. It's pretty easy one. So, and again, this is one of the very most frequently asked questions. Swap the two variables, right? Swap the two variables, and then here you have a freedom to use the third variable. Okay, so any suggestions, guys? I would request you to type in your responses. If you have anything regarding the logic, so I would take that in, and then I'm gonna solve it the best I can. And again, the same thing, guys, so I'll be repeating it. So the same question can be solved in n number of ways. Okay, n number of ways. So do not take it as if whatever today I'm talking about, that's the only way around to solve that job. No, right? So it would be n number of ways. I can give you 3 ways to do this right now, but again, right, so it's about understanding the requirement. So here you want to switch the two variables where you have a freedom to introduce a third variable, guys. Okay, anybody wants to try this? Any suggestions on this? Okay, then in that case, let me take it. So so now here I want two variables, right? So basically I would need to take the two variables in, right? I would need to take the input of two variables. So I can take variable 1, right, as my first variable, and then I can say I want to take input, right? So input as like, say, please enter your first number, right? And then I can give it as say n1. Okay, then this is it. So this is my first variable, and then definitely on top of this I'm gonna write int, right? So this is my first variable, and then I'm again gonna copy it because I need two variables now. So I'm gonna take another input, I'm gonna give it to variable 2, and this time it will be n2, guys. So I have two variables now, variable 1 and variable 2. Okay, so now the thing is I need to swap these two variables. So suppose I have variable a, which is 5, and I have variable b, which is say 10. The objective is now a should be 10 and b should be 5, right? So I mean, now if we have a freedom to introduce a third variable, it becomes very easy. So what we can do is we can directly introduce a third variable c, which is anyway a temp variable, or just a c, right? Where c, I can assign c to a, right? So basically I'm saying that my third variable is basically 10. So what I can say is, so now c has a value of what? C is equal to 10 now at the moment, right? Now I can say this, a equal to b. So here a would have a value of 5. No, okay, my bad. So I'm taking it like this. So c is equal to a, that means c is 5 here. So I was taking it from here. Okay, so and now I'm saying a is equal to b, right? So basically now I'm saying this. So a has taken a value of b, which is 10. So a is 10 now, okay? And now I can say that now b is equal to c. Now c is nothing but my temp variable. C has a value of 5. So in this case, my b will become 5. I've got the answer, right? So now I've reversed it. So now my a value is 10 and the b value is 5. Cool. It's pretty simple actually. So when I can introduce a third variable, it becomes actually simpler. Cool. So just the same logic, I want to put it in the code. Cool. So I can introduce a temp variable. So I can say temp. Okay. So temp is nothing but a, and then I want to say that a equal to b, and then I want to say that b equal to temp. Cool. Fair enough. So I can print this. So print, I can say that after swapping values are as follows, right? So then print say value of n1 is good. I can give this value here, and I can pass a, and the same thing I can do it for b. So value of n2 will be b. Cool. And then I'm going to remove this all. Let's run this. So my first value is say 100, and the second value is 200. Okay, this is super strange. What went wrong? Let me restart my kernel. I think some else garbage value it is taking. So and then I'm gonna say this is a 5. I will just what's the issue? Oh, my bad. Okay, and then we'll let it take it as a and b, and then a right. Cool, guys. So it was taking some garbage value. So I might have stored some other value before, and I was not storing it here. Cool. So it's a very plain simple question, right? So I think it's a very plain simple question. Nothing strange here. So we are just doing the swapping of two variables using the third variable, right? I will introduce a third variable temp here, and this temp is nothing but taking initially my variable a, and then I'm replacing it with b, and then I'm giving this temp to my b. Cool. Nothing fancy here. Any questions, guys? It's very simple. So it's actually very simple. So I think it should not be of major issue here. And now the second version of the same question is again, you can see this. I have introduced a temp variable here, right? So temp variable, it actually eases out your work. It gives you a flexibility of writing the question, writing the same code by using another third variable, right? Now the question is same question. Okay, so you want to swap the variables without without using the third variable. Okay, the same question. So actually these two questions are, again, I have seen most frequently asked questions. So I mean, the first one is comparatively easier when you have the freedom to choose your third variable, right? But now here, when you don't have the freedom to choose your the third variable, then slightly trickier. Okay, but again, you can still do this. I'll give you two answers for this. Okay, so two answers, but again, let's take it one for the day. So the thing is, now the question is, you want to have it without using the third variable, right? Any suggestions, guys? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. 30 seconds, just give it a try, right? So what logic you can put in. So if you have the logic in front of you, if you can think of a logic, we can always code it. Okay, so coding is always about a logic. First, think of a problem from a logical perspective. Just try to write an English sentence. Like, for example, I said I have 5 here, okay, and I have B is 10 here, right? And I want to swap, and I cannot do this. So what all can I do? Can I do A plus B? I can do A plus B, right? I can do A minus B. So this is what I can do. And then I can do A cross B. I can do A divided by B, right? And a lot of other things also, A modulus B and all that. So we can do, so these all things is quite possible, right? So it's still possible with my numbers. So try to find out something from this logic if you can still do something like this. Okay, it's again more of a plain logic, but again, the thing is, if somebody asks you to not do this from your third variable, we can do this. Thank you so much. We have an answer here. Kamveer says yes, absolutely. So that's basically the concept of tuple. Very nice, Kamveer. Thank you so much, Karnveer. I'm really sorry I pronounced your name incorrectly. Yes, very nice. So this is one of your concept of tuple. Absolutely great. We can use this straight away, right? Yes. So A comma B is equal to B comma A. Basically the concept of a tuple. Okay. That's again a very good solution. We can use it straight away. But again, as I said, there are a number of ways. You can take this as one of the solutions. I told you two solutions, so one is already given here. So Kamveer gave me the first answer. So I'm not going to use it now. Okay. Again, I'm going to use it in some other way. Very good, but again, it's a very good answer. It's a very straightforward thing. So we're going to read list and the tuples in the next week, right? So I'm going to cover this. So this is basically a concept of your tuple. So tuple, if you just simply give two variables, right, A and A comma B, by default takes it as a tuple, and a tuple is immutable, right? And if in the tuple you have a flexibility to swap the values, magic swap we call as in tuples, right? So we can do that straight away. Right, but again, let's stick from the arithmetic perspective. So we'll try to build some logic using plus, minus, divide, multiply, something like that. So using the same two variables, we're gonna do it like this. Okay. Again, your response is not wrong, Karnveer. Absolutely correct. We can do it that way, right? So do not worry about that. But again, we're gonna look at some other ways also. Okay. So that's about it. Any suggestion, guys? From the arithmetic perspective, can we do something like this? Okay, let me then just try to read out things. So let me try to explain you in that fashion. Oh my bad. Okay. Right. So I have A and B here, right? So I have both the values of A and B, right? So now let's do one thing. So can I do, so what will be A minus B? A minus B will give me 5 minus 10. So it will be like minus 5, right? And if I do A plus B, right? If I do A plus B, it will give me what? 15. Okay. So now you're seeing this. So if I do A plus B plus A minus B, so 15 minus 5, so 10, right? And then the value of B is 10. So can I say this? A is equal to A plus B plus A minus B, something like this. I'm seeing a possibility here, guys, right? And then also we can do this. What if I say I have minus 5 here, right? So what if I say, if I add A on top of A minus B will give me 10. So 5 minus minus 5. So 5 minus minus 5 is what? 5 plus 5, 10. I can get it to this number, right? Are you able to connect with me this? It's more of an arithmetic logical solutioning, okay? So now let's try to solve this, okay? So let's name it to like this. So A minus B, I can name this A minus B for now to again A, okay? Because I cannot introduce a third variable. So now in this case, A minus B is gonna give me what? Minus 5. So A is minus 5 here, right? So now what I can do here is B is equal to A plus B. So A plus B is what? Minus 5 plus 10. right? So it's gonna give me what? 5. So now you have converted B to 5, right? So A was 5, now your B is 5 at this point of time, correct? Just by simple plus and minus, right? And now again I can do, so here if I need to reach, so I need to assign now A to 10, right? So what I can do here, I can add A, I can subtract A to B, right? So if I do 5 minus of minus 5 will be 5 plus 5, so 10. So I can do that, right? So it'll be like 5B minus A, right? So it'll be 10 here. So now in this case, we have a value of A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 5. Cool. I still did not introduce any variable here, just use the basic plus minus logic, right? Very simple intuitions here. I can do that. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karamveer, to answer the second response as well. Absolutely great. Yes, yes. And apologies, I did not notice the chat earlier. I was trying to code. Yes, absolutely correct. Thank you so much, Manish, as well. We can do A is equal to A plus B. Just try to solve it from a example, right? If you take a particular example, a number like 5 or 10, right, you'll be able to get the logic. If you try to solve it with blank A and B, right, like a string, it'll become tricky for you because you'll not be able to understand, okay, what number, you'll not be able to take it. Now, once I've written these numbers, right, minus 5 here, 5 here, 10 here, you are able to actually get, because ultimately the objective is A should be 10. So in that case, I can do 5 of minus 2 minus 5, so 5 plus 5, 10 will come here, right? So this is the way you have to think of it, okay? So think from giving an example here. So whenever you get a question where you need to do some kind of operations on some numbers, right, you can always think, if you're not getting any logic, right, so try to give some examples here. Try to give yourself a freedom of taking a random number and trying to do it, okay? So that's, again, might help. Okay, so we have the logic in front of us right now. So basically we can do these 3 steps, right? So this will give us an answer. So let's try to again code this, right? So again, we're going to take the variable A, which is like the int of input, and then it says enter the first number, okay? And then enter the first number would be what? N1. Okay, I'm going to give it as N1, right? So that's going to be A, and then I'm going to use it as B. It's going to be my N2, right? And then what? So I'm going to do these 3 steps. So A is equal to, I'm going to take A minus B. Let's see if let's see if it holds true for all the variables. We have seen it one example, right? Let's try to give some other examples. So A is equal to A minus B, and then B is equal to A plus B, and then A is equal to A B minus A, right? So this is what we did. So now this is done. Okay, so now print say after swapping, values are as follows, and then I'm gonna do print. Okay, I'm gonna show you one interesting thing here. Okay, so how to write basically your format. So in the print, there are 2 ways to write the print. I think you have noticed this. So I'm using print here is more of this format, right? So here you have something called as we are writing the multiple values whatever we want to print using commas, right? There's another beautiful way of writing print function. I'll show you that. So now I don't want to use comma, I want to use a single quote. Okay, so value of N1 is, I can use a curly bracket here. Okay, just remember guys, a curly bracket. So I'm gonna, in this curly bracket, values can be anything. It can be passed externally also. Okay, so I have written the quote, so entirely it is under a quote, and this value to this particular, which is a dynamic value, I can use a function format. Okay, so format can be used on within your print itself. So it is, just see, it is within my parenthesis itself. Okay, but outside my quotes with a dot format. So I'm calling it as an object. Okay, in this format I can pass the value which I want to give. So this curly bracket will be given a value of A. Okay, and now if I have multiple values, multiple dynamic values, if I have to give, so I can write again multiple curly brackets, curly brackets inside. I can pass the values here with this A comma B comma C, whatever value are like this. I can give it like this. Dot format will still work. Okay, but the order has to be correct. Again, a beautiful way. So I'm going to use format this time. Okay, so my N1 is this, and value of N2 is what? B. Cool. Let's remove this. Let's try to run it. So my first variable is say 100, second is 200. cool, voila. So you have n1 as 200 now and n2 as 100. Still holds good for your variables. Any questions, guys? And did you understand this format wala logic? So it's just a I would say more of a simpler way of writing things, because see, if you have multiple dynamic values to pass, right, we're gonna take one more questions where the multiple dynamic values has to be passed, right? So in this case, format works really well because everything is under a single quote. So this string looks quite readable, right? It looks quite readable. When you write multiple things inside a single print statement, right, then it becomes really trickier to read it. So that's how we can be using format. Cool, done. So 2 questions done. Yeah, this one is quite decent. Okay, cool. So now you have a third question right in front of you. So we want to do, we want to write the table of any number. Okay. So the question is, I want to write a table of any number. Okay. So so how do you write a table? Just for an information, guys. So for example, if you write a table of 5, so how we write it? So table of 5. It looks like this, right? So 5 cross 1 is equal to 5, and then 5 cross, my bad, 2 is equal to 10, likewise. So 5 cross, there you are, 5 cross 10 is equal to 50. We write it like this, right? So this is a format of any table, right? Anybody wants to try this? So this is a question. You have to write the table of any number you want, any number. If I still give 1000 here, it should still write me that table. Okay, so this table has to be printed in this format. And now, so f5 is my number cross 1 is equal to number multiplied by 1, and then number cross till the 10. So we write the table till 10, right? So till, that's the ideal way, right? So you have to write a table of any number, in any input number in this fashion. So you have to write it in the table. So you have to write till 5 cross 1 is equal to 5, till 5 cross 10 is equal to 10. Cool, guys. Just a quick question to you. If anybody wants to try this, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Again, not a tricky one. We have did a part of it yesterday. Okay. But again, I would request you to try this at least if you can give me any response here. So I'll wait for 30-45 seconds maybe. Right, so please feel free to try in the question, right? So you have the question right in front of you. So you want to write a table of any given number in the fashion I want. Okay. Right, guys. So I think we have a couple of responses from Manish and Karmveer. Thank you so much, guys. And I am really happy to see this, that you have understood the concept of range first. Okay, very good that you have used it from 1 to 11. That is something which is required. Yes. So as you always know, range, in the range, the outer boundary is always n-1. So it's gonna take it till 10, right? Very good, guys. Thank you so much. So I think that we are doing a good job here. Great, absolutely great. Yes, because anyway we need the values till 10, right? So there is some sort of looping involved, some sort of loop kind of thing is there, right? So we want to iterate it over those numbers. So how to generate those numbers first? Range is a good variable. So range from 1 to 11, great. So we're gonna get the values from 1 to 10, great. That's what we can do. And then we can have a for loop. So for loop on top of those values, and then the print statement. And Manish has given me the print as well. Great. Thank you so much. Absolutely great. I think this is wonderful. Wonderful. You guys have given me the answers. Great, guys. So let's try to code it. Very well. Very well. Cool. So let's try to formulate it in a very simpler way. Okay. And I'll try to explain what Manish and Karmveer have suggested us on the chat. Right. So what they have told is, So we're gonna take a range of values from 1 to 11, right? So I hope people are just aware. So I'll just again take it as an input. So for I in range 1 to 11, print I. So can you see this? It has given me the values from 1 to 10. Always remember guys, range from 1 to 11, the outer boundary always takes n minus 1, okay? So it will give me 10 till 10th value. So if we want that till the 10 multiplier, then yes, you have to take the range from 1 to 11. So that's one thing is sorted. So you are getting this I here, okay? So 1, 2 and 10. So this is your I basically, correct? Now what I want this multiplication. So what I can do, so I can simply do so what say, suppose I'm taking number as my input, num cross I, so I can get this right, and this number I can take it as an input. That's a fair, simpler way. And now I can represent the same thing in the loop also. Let's try to write it. So same logic, I'm putting it in the code now, okay? So I'm inputting this number as input. So again, int of input, where I'm gonna write, say, enter the number to print the tables for. Okay, cool. So I'm going to take the number here. Now my objective is I want to print it like this format, right? So I can take for I in range of 1 to 11, no questions here. So I need to print. So print, but I can print. So I'm going to use a format here, right? So I can have, so first is again a curly braces, which is my number x of my, again curly braces, I can give I here equal to, again a curly braces, my value. So on this I can pass the values which I want dynamically, format. So my first curly braces is what, 5, so which is nothing but my number. So number is num, so I can pass it as num, okay? And the second curly braces is what, I, right? So it is like I. And the third is what, num cross I. So 5 cross I want, right? So num cross I. Cool. Any questions in this, guys? Let's run this. So I want the table of, say, easy one. No, 9. I'll take 9. Cool. Voila. You have the table right in front of you, right? So we have printer number 9 here. 9 cross 1, 9, 2, 3, 4, 9 cross 10 is equal to 90. We have printed the table, right? I can give any fancy number here. I can give, say, 121. Okay, good number. Cool. मेरे को तो याद भी नहीं है यार इसका, किसी को भी याद नहीं होगा. But I can print it through Python, right? In hardly even a second. Cool. This is a program for you guys. So again, a very beautiful question, most frequently asked in the interviews. Write a table for a particular number. Any questions in this, guys? Is this format thing clear to you? I think Manish has already given this answer, so I'm assuming he's already aware of this. Thank you so much, Manish, for understanding this. Anybody else has any questions on the format part? Is this format clear? So in this print statement, I'm using a dynamic curly braces, okay? And I can still write in a different way also. I mean, I still cannot use format. I can still do this. Print of what? First is my number, right? So number, comma, and then I have x. So before x I need to give a space, right? So I can give a space here, and then I want what, I, okay, and then again this x also I'll give a space. So I के बाद I want okay, in this curly braces I want equal to, and then after this I want n number cross I. This would still work. Let's see this. Okay, let's give 9. Cool. It will still work. Cool, guys. Anything is fine. You can still use the earlier format, but did you see it's little trickier to use in this format? So multiple commas, you have to look for your strings and then the integers or whatever dynamic value you want to pass, right? So this way of using format is more readable type of a code, more readable, right? But again, do not get confused that you cannot use this fashion. This is also fine. We can give multiple commas and still get the work done. Okay, I hope this point is pretty much clear. Cool. Then let's take the, this is easy. I'll take this one, reverse of a number. This is interesting. Cool. So guys, you have another question right in there in front of your screen. So this time I want to reverse a number. Okay. So now reversing a number, by that I mean, so suppose my number is say 213. Okay. So my input. Okay. Input is 213. So I want. My bad. Oh. Okay, so I want the output to be what? 312. Just the reverse of my words. Reverse of my numbers. Reverse of a number. Okay, and it should be valid for any length. So if I give like this, something like this, not alphanumerical, like this. So it should still print the reverse, like 3 7 7 3 8 2 4 2 3 1 2. Okay, so it should be printing reverse of any number you are giving into the string, into your program. It should give me the output. Cool guys, this is slightly trickier. We'll read out of the logics. We'll first understand this and then code it. Okay, so until this point, any questions guys? This is slightly trickier, so I want you to first understand the logic. But again, if you have any confusion till now, please feel free to pull up your questions. And again, if you still have any responses for this, if you still want to try this, okay, I'll be more than happy. You can take it as your suggestion. I mean, I'll take it as your suggestion and I'll take it. So if you want to still try it. Right, so I can give you 30-40 seconds if you want to put up any of your comments, any suggestions how we can do this, so we can take it up. Anything guys, anything which is coming to your mind, anything which you feel we can do with this code, how to reverse it, any suggestions? Great, so Manish has given an answer, while num is greater than 0, absolutely right. And then the R is I'm taking reverse as num percent 10, so modulus of 10, absolutely will get the unitary value. And then print R num by 10. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm actually getting to know, I'm understanding what you're trying to do here. Absolutely very well answered, Manish. Yes, we can do it that fashion. So I'll try to explain you guys what Manish has just answered. So we'll talk about that. Thank you so much, Manish, and thank you so much for being so proactive in the class. Again, a good response from you. Yes, absolutely right. So we can use it in this way. In fact, we're going to use this particular way only to solve the problem. Right. So any questions, guys? Any questions? So let me explain. Let me try to explain you. Okay. So I'll take a simple one. Okay. So it becomes more easier to understand first, and then we go deep. Okay. So now I have this input 213, and I want to reverse it to 312. Okay. So सबसे पहले मुझे क्या चाहिए यहाँ पे? The first which I want is my last value, right? So I want to start from the end here, right? So this is how gonna be my first character. Correct? Any questions here, guys? So this is gonna be my first character, right? So I need the last character of my input to place it as my first value, right? इसमें तो कोई doubt नहीं है, इसमें तो कोई भी doubt नहीं है ना? So we're gonna do it like this. So अब आपको अगर 213 में से 3 को निकालना है तो कैसे निकालोगे? There again multiple ways. आप इंडेक्सिंग भी कर सकते हो, डेफिनेटली कर सकते हो. बट अगेन लॉजिकली अगर मैं नंबर से जाऊं तो आपने ऑपरेंड्स क्या क्या पढ़ा है? आपने मॉड्यूलस पढ़ा है, आपने फ्लोर डिवीजन पढ़ा है. यहाँ पे क्या काम आ सकता है? अगर हम 213 पे यहाँ पे करते हैं, 213 पे अगर हम मॉड्यूलस को 10 करते हैं, 3 मिलता है हमें. मॉड्यूलस क्या होता है? आई हैव टोल्ड यू दिस, राइट? सो इट्स द रिमाइंडर ऑफ माय डिवीजन, राइट? सो 213 से अगर 10 को डिवाइड करोगे तो 210 कट जाएगा एंड 3 इज गोना बी योर रिमाइंडर, राइट? So you'll get the 3 value here. So the logic is, if we use a modulus operand with a 10 division on top of my input, you'll get the unitary value. So the first character, which is my last character of my input, you'll get this, right? So this is gonna be my first point, right? So I have to, so I can define this like say the digit. Okay, so I'll say as a digit. So digit will be what? So 213 modulus 10. So here अभी यहाँ पे मेरे को 3 मिल गया. So यहाँ पे I have 3, right? So अब क्या करना होगा? 3 पे अगर मुझे 1 को ऐड करना होगा तो कैसे करोगे आप? 3 पे अगर 3 को अगर आप 1 से ऐड करोगे तो दो तरीके से कर सकते हो. या तो आप कॉन्कैट करो, 3 और 1 को कॉन्कैट करो, स्ट्रिंग कॉन्कैटिनेट करो, या इंट पे कॉन्कैट भी कर सकते हो, लिस्ट बना के फिर उसको इंट में कन्वर्ट. लॉट ऑफ वेज यू कैन स्टिल डू इन एन नंबर ऑफ वेज. बट अच्छा, यहाँ पे अगर मैं सिर्फ सिंपल नंबर से जाता हूँ, कैन आई डू दिस? इफ आई वांट टू ऐड 1, सो बेसिकली 1 ऐड करूँगा तो 31 बन जाएगा वो, राइट? सो 31 बनाने के लिए मुझे पहले 3 को मल्टीप्लाई बाय 10 करना पड़ेगा. सो टू गेट 30, सो नाउ आई हैव अ वैल्यू ऑफ 30 हियर, राइट? सो आई कैन, नाउ द वैल्यू इज 30. Okay, so just take it as a temp variable. So now temporarily I have done what? 3 cross 10, so this is my 30. Okay, and now on top of 30 I again run it on a loop. Okay, so now digit now this is my 31st variable, right? अगर मैं इसको loop में करता जाऊँ all the time, so now this digit can be added on top of my temp variables every time. So now this is my first, right? So I have got 3 here. अगर अब मैं क्या करूँगा, अब सेकेंड लूप में जाने के लिए अब मेरे को क्या चाहिए? अब मेरे को 1 चाहिए, राइट? सो 1 चाहिए यहाँ पे, तो मैं 1 कैसे ला सकता हूँ? अब सेकेंड आप कैसे करोगे? सो अब जैसे अगर मेरे को 1 पे लाना है तो पहले आई हैव टू रिमूव दिस 3, राइट? सो अब क्या करोगे? 2 1 3 को अगर आप फ्लोर डिवीजन करोगे 10 से तो आपको क्या मिलता है? 21 मिलता है. बिकॉज फ्लोर डिवीजन क्या करता है? इट गिव्स यू द क्वेश्चन, राइट? द क्वेश्चन ऑफ द मैक्सिमम इट कैन डिवाइड द न्यूमरेटर, राइट? सो 3 को वो एलिमिनेट कर देगा, तो बेसिकली गिव यू 21, राइट? सो नाउ इन दिस 21 इफ यू रन दिस लॉजिक ऑफ डिजिट अगेन, सो मॉड्यूलस, अगर आप 21 पे मॉड्यूलस करोगे 10, सो यू विल गेट 1, राइट? सो बेसिकली दिस इज योर सेकेंड वैल्यू. सो 30 पे अगर आप 1 को ऐड करोगे तो आपको क्या दे देगा? 31 दे देगा, राइट? अगेन द नेक्स्ट थिंग, अब फिर अब 21 को आप मॉड्यूलस से डिवाइड कर दो. 21 को आप फ्लोर डिवाइड करो 10 से, सो व्हाट विल गिव यू 2, राइट? अगेन आप 2 को अगर आप मॉड्यूलस में स्टिल रन करोगे 10 से, विल गिव यू 2 ओनली, राइट? सो अगेन इस अब 31 को आप क्या करोगे? 31 को अगेन आप 10 से मल्टीप्लाई करोगे, सो इट विल बिकम 310 नाउ. 310 मिल गया आपको, ठीक है? अब 310 पे अगर आप इस डिजिट को 2 को ऐड करोगे तो 312 मिल जाएगा. ये लॉजिक समझ में आया? Yes. Okay, so we have 2 more answers here. Convert into the string and yeah, reversing of everything. Absolutely, guys, we can absolutely do this. No problem at all. Yes, we can do that way. It's more of a simpler way, but what I was trying to do is I was trying to explain it from the numbers perspective. Okay, again, no questions asked. Your answers are absolutely right, guys. I just noticed the chat, so I was not monitoring it. Yes, absolutely right. Your both the answers are absolutely right. We can convert into a string, do a reverse of say colon -1, straight simple answer, and then convert into int. Yes, this will still work. Cool, absolutely right, guys. So no question asked. But again, I wanted to use the operands here. Okay, so what if somebody asks you that reverse a number without using converting into string? Okay, so yeah, so the recruiters knows that. So if you convert into string, it will become very easy. They know it. Okay, so sometimes they'll become over smart, right? So in this case, yeah, so in that case, if it cannot convert into a string, so I would have rather given this question, I mean, without converting into a string. Yeah, if you have the freedom to convert into a string, you can absolutely do this. It's a one-liner question. But yeah, again, did you get this logic, guys? So I wanted to explain this logic again. Okay, so this is again very important. So if you can understand this, so modulus and your floor division actually can give you this answer, and if you can run it in the loop. Any questions here? I mean, if you can get the logic of this number, so this is again good. It's again a traditional approach. Yes, absolutely right. It's a traditional approach. But again, so see, sometimes the interviewers, the recruiters are really tricky, right? So sometimes they're in a good mood and they would say that, okay, theek hai bhaiya, aap string ko le lo, and then do it like this. Sometimes they are more trickier. Then they want to see your approach. So they want to see your logical approach to the problem, right? So that's somewhere your sometimes they ask you, right, to not use any particular function. So they do that. right? So let's try to do it in that fashion. Okay, in a traditional way. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm gonna input, so I'm gonna use the same logic here. Okay, the floor division and my modulus. Okay, so I'm gonna take an input here, so int of input, and then I'm gonna write, say, my bad. Okay, I'm gonna write enter your number. Okay, cool, please write your number. Fair enough. Now here, since I'm gonna add to something, right, so I'm gonna write into a loop. So as you know, when we are adding or doing any operation within your loop, it's always advisable to define temp variable earlier. So I'm gonna define my reverse string, reverse integer, as a reverse is equal to 0, because I'm gonna add and then multiply, right? So we're gonna use it like that. Okay, so reverse is my 0, and now here I'm saying this. So till my number, so I want this to stop somewhere, right? So I cannot just keep on going it. So till my number becomes if the number is lesser than 0, I cannot do it, right? So I have to run a condition again. So while my n is actually greater than 0, I'm gonna that time, and then I'm gonna define a digit. So what I just wrote, so digit gonna be my n, which is my input, and modulus of 10. Okay, so this is my digit, so this is gonna be my unitary value, right? So it's gonna be my unit value. Cool. And then, as I said, so right, so here, cool, right, so on the reverse, which is my 0, cool, so on the loop I'm gonna do this. So reverse, I'm gonna modify to reverse cross 10 for the unitary value. So for the 0, it will be 0 cross 10, so 0 plus my digit. Cool, fair enough. So for the second, it will be like cross 10, so 10 plus digit. So yeah, it will give me the tens, the unitary or tens value. Yeah, absolutely correct. So this reverse is fine. And then at the end, I'm gonna do it a floor division, because I want the second value now in that case. So n is equal to n floor division of 10. Cool, fair enough. So this is how it's gonna be printing me. So let's see this. So now print. So what? Reverse of the number is, say, this I'm gonna pass like reverse. Cool, let's try this, and I have, say, 1 2 3 3 2 1. Cool, it's working fine. And if you want to see what's happening inside, so let's try to do this. So I'm gonna print digit here, okay, and then I'm gonna print rev here, and then and then I'm gonna print n here, just to see what's happening inside. Okay, so 1 2 3. Cool. So सबसे पहले मेरा क्या print हुआ, digit print हुआ. Okay, so I have got 3. This is what I wanted. So digit मेरा 3 आ गया है, and reverse में क्या चाहता हूँ, भी 3 रहेगा, because reverse में आप करोगे 0 cross 10, तो 0 plus 3, so will be 3. So reverse is 3 here. And the n, so n is floor division of 10. So basically 1 2 3 में से 3 चला गया, 12 बच गया. Cool. So now I want 2 to be picked. It got picked in the digit. And now the reverse is 3 cross 10. 30 plus 2 is 32. Clear. Great. Working fine. And now my n. N is what? N is n floor division of 10. So basically 1 2 में से 2 हटा दो तो 1 बच जाएगा आपका. Right. And now इस 1 को आप बना लोगे digit. So आपका वो digit आ गई. Reverse में वो 32 into 10. So 320 plus 1. So 321. And the n is like, अगर आप 1 पे 10 से फ्लोर डिवीजन करोगे तो 0 आएगा ऑब्वियसली, राइट. सो अब यहाँ पे लूप यहाँ पे ब्रेक हो जाएगा. सो हमने लगा रखा है while n is greater than 0, राइट. सो रिवर्स आपका आ जाएगा. लॉजिक ये ट्रेडिशनल अप्रोच है, एब्सोल्युटली राइट. सो एनी क्वेश्चंस इन दिस गाइस? Any questions here, guys? Hope you understood the logic. Okay, a lot of chats. Let me read through it. Can't actually reverse the number, print then the reverse order. क्या हो रहा है इसमें? Sir, your one question, sir. Your suggested time that is needed preparation for cracking coding interviews of product base. Okay, यार देखो ये ना ये डिपेंड करता है आप बेसिकली किस रोल पे जा रहे हो. ओके सो इफ यू आर गोइंग पाइथन जनरली व्हाट आई हैव सीन इज पाइथन डेवलपर्स आर डिफरेंट. ओके एंड अगर आप पाइथन डेवलपमेंट कोडिंग पे जाते हो लाइक बिकॉज हियर देयर आर टू एस्पेक्ट्स. सो the kind of question which I'm talking about is a very traditional questions, okay, and these have been most frequently asked. But आप अगर किसी senior position पे जाते हो, so sometimes these questions might not directly be relevant, okay. So वो they ask you to go for a coding round जिसमें आपको एक question solve करने में roughly 1 घंटा लग सकता है, right? So it's a big question, everything for the logic and all that. So we're gonna cover that eventually, okay. We'll come to that point. But yeah, these are quite good questions to start your logical understanding of the codes, right? So time preparation अगर आप मुझसे पूछते हो तो Python is all about practice. Okay, so if we have a fair grasp of your basics on Python, right? So practice as much as you can. So you have a lot of websites to practice the code. You can get a lot of questions on Python, right? So try to practice as much as you can. So if you invest your time right now within like 2-3 weeks or 1 month of time on practicing, right, you'll be really good. You'll be really good. You become really fast in solving the problems, right? But if you won't practice, if you just come and listen to somebody's lecture, so it won't help you a lot much. Okay, so it'll like you're coming for the classroom and then happily learning and then going away not doing anything in the home, right? So I would say the time is more directly proportional to your time which you invest in practicing. Okay. So for me, ideal time is 3 weeks. So for me, if you're actually good in basics as in at least you know things, right? It's not like you're not aware what list क्या होता है, tuple क्या होता है, dictionary क्या होता है. Basic चीजें पता है ना, तो आप practice करना start कर दो, ठीक है? बहुत सारे errors आएंगे, बहुत सारे questions आएंगे, definitely आएंगे, है ना? But वो eventually will keep on practicing, you'll keep on learning it. Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule कि आपको इतना time देना पड़ेगा to crack any coding rounds. और ये product based में कुछ specific नहीं होता यार. So I've been into product based for quite a long time, right? So it's not anything very specific which is different from a product based or an IT service. Okay, it's not like that. People have unnecessarily creating that I mean a kind of a false information. There is no clear-cut distinction between a question which is asked in a product base or in an IT industry, right? Yeah, there will be few different rounds. Like a case study होता है generally product based में, so we look for a case study kind of a question, okay? But that does not have a direct relevance to your coding round specifically, okay? So coding rounds अगर आप में जाते हो तो coding rounds के जो question आपको IT में भी मिलेंगे, similarly आपको इधर MNC में भी मिलेंगे. ऐसा कुछ अलग से कुछ difference नहीं है कि आपको MNC के लिए अलग से पढ़ना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, जो आप कर रहे हो, प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, that should suffice the selection. Okay, so I hope I have answered your question. Any other questions, guys? Any other thing which you want to highlight? Or I think we're pretty much done for the day. So right, so tomorrow what we're going to do is, so tomorrow is a weekend, so we're going to meet at 10 a.m. in the morning, right? So 10 a.m. we're going to start something on data science, okay? So we started with pandas, so we're going to do some stuff on pandas tomorrow, and then we have another session at 11:15. So then there we're going to do a lot of exercises, okay? So again I'm going to give you a few questions on pandas based on the things which we have learned, okay? And then let's try to solve it, okay? So tomorrow, guys, 10 a.m. in the morning, please try to join it as per your availability. I understand it's a weekend, but again, it's happy learning for all of us, right? Even I'm learning, right? So nobody's perfect. So right, so tomorrow we can meet at around 10 a.m. guys for our masterclass on pandas data science. We can do that. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, guys, again I'm going to give you 1 more minute so that we can take up any last moment questions, and then we can wind up for the day. And hope I was able to make that logic clear to you, right? So this is, again, if you understand this logical part, right, flow division and all that, so definitely that's going to help you. Right. Yes, absolutely, Manish. I'm doing that. So as per the suggestion, I mean, there were a few other candidates in the chat. So they told about data science. So I took that as a feedback, and we have started doing few things. Sorry, my bad. So we have started doing something on pandas over the weekends. So we have covered 2 weekends till date. Sorry, so 8 classes. So and during those hours we have done few things on pandas. Pandas is one of the very good libraries in Python. Again, pandas is not data science. Pandas is just one library in Python. Okay, so we have started looking at some of the individual functionalities of pandas. Okay, so we're going to talk about, please join tomorrow at 10 a.m. okay, so we're going to talk about few rest other functionalities of pandas, and then we're going to do a lot of exercises. Okay, so we do it likewise. So first we learn something, and then we do exercises on top of that. Okay, so that, I mean, that's how I believe we always learn. So Python is all about practice, not a lecture, right? So let's do that. So let's join tomorrow 10 a.m. So weekends I'm covering the data science part, okay, of Python. and eventually we'll go towards that as well. Okay, thank you so much for your suggestion, Manish, and thank you so much for being so active, guys, during the class. That truly motivates me. So that's why I'm here. So otherwise, it's gonna be really boring for me. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Again, let's see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I'm gonna give your evening back. So please do join on time, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we're gonna cover the pandas rest over topics. Cool. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for watching. And stay safe.